think just for consistency, we will record the Q&A portion as well. So once again, my name is Tommey Liang. I'm a program manager for career services at the Daytona Beach Career Services Center. And I'm going to pass the mic over to Roshunda.
Thank you so much, Tommey. My name is Roshunda Jenkins, and I am a program manager as well for the Career Service Office. So we hope you guys get some very vital information about resume writing.
Very good. So once again, thank you all for taking the time to come out to today's presentation on Zoom. We definitely hope this presentation will give you a better idea of how to make your resume more Embry-Riddle, more university standards. Maybe you are coming straight out from high school and you have a high school resume still. Maybe you don't have a resume at all. Don't worry, we're all here to help you and assist you on how to make your resume as best as you can be. As I say to students, your resume is essentially a key to your car door, to your residence hall door, wherever it may be. So that resume, that piece of document can help you get that interview, and that interview can help you get that position. So Roshunda is going to take off with the first slide of content.
Great. Thank you, Tommey. All right, so first we're just going to be talking about what recruiters are going to be looking for in your resume. And it's really important to remember that your resume, they usually take seconds to look at it. And again, this is what gets your foot in the door. They definitely want to see an easy to read format. So something that's nice and simple, not compiled information, no grammatical or spelling errors. So we always recommend having someone proof it. We are here in Career Services and we are able to do that as well to make sure that your resume is up to par. Appropriate length, we would say definitely about a page length. So until you get a lot of that career experience under your belt, sometimes it can go to 2 pages, but for now, your resume should be about a page long. You want to also include a consistent format, so making sure you have your headings along with any descriptions or aligned information. And you want to tailor your resumes with relevant information. So you'll notice that each resume, that objective should be tailored to that specific position or that field that you are submitting that resume for. Also, it should guide the reader. So you want to make sure that it flows well. The overarching reason for a resume. You want to make sure that they clearly understand what your skills and abilities are, as well as the knowledge that you've obtained and your value. So in regards to resume formatting, we always recommend that you start with a blank Word document. A lot of times if you use a resume template, it's going to be a lot harder to maneuver and edit. So we highly suggest that you use a blank Word document. And you want to make sure that it's saved with possibly your first name, last name, along with whoever it's being submitted to or whatever that resume is being used for. You want to make one master resume to simplify for customization, and then you're able to go along and just kind of edit that resume, that document. For resumes sent for specific jobs or companies, you can try this. As you all can see, this one has first name, last name, along with the employer, and then it has that actual job description number. Clear out automatic extra spaces. That'll help because if you notice that you put all of your content in and then it's going over to those 2 pages, just by taking a look at those additional spaces that are created, a lot of times can alleviate some of that extra space. Your margin should be set at 1 inch all the way around. Every now and then, if you need to fit your information into that 1 page, you can adjust it a little bit, but typically we would say start with 1 inch margins. Select a simple font style, so nothing too fancy. Remember, we want it simple and easy to read. That font size for your actual information should be a size 10 to 12. So that is legible. You don't want something too big because it's going to look like you're just trying to fill that information. And then if it's too small, they won't be able to read it. So they may not even take the time to look. When you're talking about your name at the top, if you all have seen resumes, that name at the top can be a little larger in font size, so a 14, 16, and then it can be bolded just so it really stands out. You want to ensure that you're adding your section titles, all right, and you should use those capital letters in boldface just so that they're able to key in on those specific areas. Before sending to an employer, make sure you save it as a PDF document, okay? So in regards to your resume sections, some information that you want to make sure is included, your contact information at the top. So underneath your name, we recommend your email address and your phone number. You can leave your address off. Once you all graduate, typically you'll see more where you include the address, but now that you are current students, that email address and phone number should be good. You can also include your LinkedIn account. So if you have a LinkedIn profile, use that custom URL if you have it. An objective. So an objective is basically stating what you are trying to accomplish, what position it is you're interested in, but you have to know when to use that. So if your resume, if you notice that it is pretty lengthy and it's going over to that 2 pages, an objective is not a mandatory requirement to put on there, but it is nice to have depending on the position you're applying for. Also, you want to include your education, specialized training, and relevant coursework. With your education, always ensure that you're including the most recent first. So everything should be reverse chronological order. So first you should see that Embry-Riddle, Aeronautical University, and then if there's another school that you attended underneath, you include that. Project, research experience, and flight time can also be included as sections on your resume. Make sure that if you are working on any of those projects, you're able to speak to them. So you want to include some good descriptions underneath, as well as with that research. For your experience, include relevant work experience, professional experience, military, internship, part-time, and summer jobs can all be included as part of your experience. And we're going to look at some examples of that as well. So here, if you take a look, this is an example of what the formatting and sections should look like. If you guys notice, you don't see a whole bunch of information just kind of compiled underneath. Everything is really simple and easy to read. So if you look at the highlighted areas, it's showing you what degree. So Bachelor of Science, Aerospace Engineering. You'll see the date that's listed there of expected graduation, GPA, if it's 3.0 or above. And then you'll also notice the project experience. So if you haven't had a lot of work experience, you can really hone in on that project experience. Here they have a few that are listed of major projects that they worked on. And underneath, it's not a paragraph, but just a sentence or so that is really describing what did they do with that specific project. Underneath that, internship, that's another area that shows you've had hands-on experience. Here they're listing the company as well as their specific position in that internship. Underneath, bullet pointed, which is very simple and easy to read. What did they do in that internship position? Always include your dates, and location where you actually participated in that internship. Little bit more about section titles. Some other areas that you can focus on are your skills. So when you're listing skills, make sure you're listing relevant skills as they apply to the position on your resume. So technical skills can be included. Computer skills can be included. So if you're proficient in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, any type of software you're familiar with. If you speak another language, that is definitely something that you would want to include on your resume. Any certifications that you've received, or your career readiness competencies, and which is really focusing on those soft skills. And we'll talk more about that later on in the presentation. If you have any leadership, any activities or involvement, you definitely want to put those on there. Again, we always stress, find something to be a part of, because these really hone in on skills that you're able to work in a team, and you have really great soft skills. So leadership is always a plus to include on your resume. Any of your accomplishments. So if you have any awards, any honors that you've received, volunteer and community service is also another good section that you can list and describe as well. So an example of that, here you'll see where work experience is listed. So they have stated Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University and what their specific position was. And then underneath, what did you do in that position? If you guys notice, action verbs, and we're going to hit on that to always start off those duties and responsibilities, not complete sentences, but start it off with an action verb to describe what it is you did. Skills. I really like how skills is listed here. I've been telling a lot of the students, always ensure that you're categorizing them. It makes it easy to look at, because if you compile your soft skills and your technical and your languages, it may get a little confusing to read, but make sure you're listing them in categories if you have a variety of skills. Here, as it's stated, you'll see engineering software, and they listed those, office software, technical, and languages. Underneath that, leadership. So if you've held any type of leadership positions, you want to include that along with what club or organization you were a leader in. So president of Student Government Association, and they also showed when they held that office. Underneath, you'll notice awards. So it's really good to put all of those awards. If you have any scholarships you've received, those are really good to include. Dean's List, awesome award to put on your resume as well. So always include the dates for work experience, typically the month and year or just the year. Skills can be included in categories to specify. As you all notice, they're broken down. And you want to include any titles, help, or any type of organizations, affiliations that you've been a part of. Making use of bullet points. This is a major for me, is that recruiters literally scan your resumes. And again, like Tommey stated, this is to get your foot in the door. So it has to really be legible and easy to read and look at. The first bullet point should be the strongest. So whatever that description is, make sure it starts off really strong. And then the last bullet point can be outcome. So if you receive some type of statistics through a project you did, or anything that is like number-based or database, that could be the last bullet point that you have if you have 3 bullet points under that description. You want to make sure that you structure your resume with bullet points and not paragraphs. So you should not see about 4 or 5 sentences together, more so a few bullet points. So maybe 3 to 4 bullet points. Action verbs, this allows the reader to see you in action. I can't stress that enough. It is so good to use strong action verbs. So why use made when you can use I basically developed or designed or created or established. So it really just gives a strong sense of you actually being in action. Why use responsible for when you can use inspected, tested, or managed? So you really want to use that professional technical language when you're starting off the descriptions for your resume. All right, a few examples of bullet points so that it is clear about what we're speaking of in that work experience or project experience. So here you see a software engineer, and just look at the bullet points, the action verbs that are used in these bullet points: redesigned, engineered, interfaced, design. And something that we have here in the Career Center is that we do provide an action verb list. And this is something that could help anyone. Sometimes you can't think about those experiences that you have, but once you look at that action verb list, you can say, oh, I did perform and do this. I created this. I participated in this. So it really does serve as a guide to help you think about some of those things that you did in those positions. And I'm going to turn it back over to Tommey.
Great. Thank you so much, Roshunda. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about using your resume for off and on-campus employment. Not to trivialize these positions, though there's still great resume builders. There's still great experiences to sharpen your skill sets, such as your ego elevate competencies, your soft skills, your interpersonal skills. But your resume could definitely be more general. So it doesn't have to include your projects. It doesn't have to have super stellar, strong bullet points, action verbs for all of your experiences. It could be more of a generalized, broad resume. But still, of course, keep your organizations, your collegiate, your university involvement, what you're a part of, your memberships, your student groups, your student clubs, your affiliations on your resume too. That still matters. The fact that you're part of XYZ organization or ABC club on campus, you meet at the Rocket Club once a week or once every 2 weeks to design this rocket that will go into the moon with a specific payload. Still include that, but it doesn't have to be super, super strong for applying to on-campus or on-campus jobs, anywhere from locally in Daytona Beach and Volusia County, or of course being a TA or a peer mentor, or even at the Hunt Library or student union operations. It doesn't have to be super, super stellar, but it's still accepted, of course, as a suitable resume. And yeah, just caveat, disclaimer, it may or may not be different for when applying to professional positions too. Whatever you've been using to apply to internships or co-ops, or in the future applying to internships or co-ops, right? That could still be used to apply to any of these on-campus or off-campus jobs nearby that may not or may not be related to your major, but it could be definitely different. So it could be maybe not as high of a pressure or less stakes when making your resume for on or off-campus jobs. And the objective, if you do want to include the objective, once again, as Roshunda mentioned, that yes, if you are looking to more so make your resume closer to one page, or if you know the organization or company would like objective statements, you could keep that general. So to pursue an on-campus position or to pursue an off-campus job for summer 2022, to seek to pursue a summer camp counselor position or job. So now I'm also gonna shift gears and also talk about how a graduate student's resume may look. That includes master's, PhD, maybe postdoc experience. And we do have one more student, awesome, fantastic. So as you can see here, this is actually a live resume from one of our outstanding alum. Of course, we changed their name. Their name is not this person, BBT. They're not working at this company in the city. There's not the exact same company name, but you get the gist of it, right? You get the gist that we have to redact and replace their information just for confidentiality. We don't want this alum to have their information out there necessarily per se, but we love the structure. We love the content, whatever else they have on their resume. So in terms of some sections to definitely still include when you do transition to a graduate student, or you're already maybe a graduate student attending the session, yeah, definitely consider having a professional summary or objective. It could still be a one-liner, could still be a one-line statement for the objective to obtain, as you can see here, to obtain a position for so-and-so on mechanical structures as well. Maybe to make this one better, to include the summer, sorry, not summer, but the semester term that they're looking for. That'd be great. Achievements could definitely be something else you could add on here. Definitely your thesis, if you are on thesis route, or if you're going to do some kind of dissertation, that's key, right? To have that research experience under your belt on your resume. If you want to include any field or research experience, capstone project, that's definitely heavy. That's definitely a critical assignment or project to do when you are a graduate student. Any professional experience you may have out there, any applicable internships, and definitely skills too. But just as before, when it comes to the previous slide, the on-campus or off-campus employment resume, the grad student style resume may or may not look as different compared to the one you may necessarily have now. But these are definitely some of the section titles you can consider and add to your resume when you do pursue that higher degree besides or beyond the bachelor's. Great, so I know there's a lot of content, I know there's a lot of bullets on this slide, so I may not necessarily talk about each and every single one, but I will definitely highlight a couple of these statements right here. So you definitely want to avoid, right? So please do not use or upload or include a personal photo of yourself on your resume, okay? No need to do that. HR, talent acquisition personnel for companies, especially in the United States, they can't get in trouble if they see that. If they request that or say that, please include that on your application when you're applying on the website or somewhere else. That's okay. That's required, right? That's requested. But on your resume, you could actually get in trouble, or they can get in trouble for that. I see this more so for outside of the U.S. positions. So, say for example, if you're applying to something abroad, maybe in Europe or East Asia or anywhere else, yes, the employer is more than likely, sometimes they're more likely to ask you for a photo of yourself. They will ask you for maybe your marital status, your date of birth, your nationality as well on your resume too. So that's more so for outside of the United States positions. No need to use any templates. We definitely do encourage students to use their own spacing or indentation, just so that way you could format it nicely every time you open and close your resume. If you do want to use a template, I would say just keep it simple, keep it a little bit, just simple and conservative, I'll say. Just you don't need to make it super heavy on the coloring and symbols being everywhere. Yeah, I just want to stop it from there. But boxes, no need to have that border around your resume too. Just keep it simple, conservative. That cannot be harped on enough. I'm going to skip down to, of course, you definitely don't need to include your salary information or your SSN. Please don't do that. Even the line above that. For the marital status and then gender, ethnicity, you can include that for outside of the US positions. But if you're applying to internships or jobs in the United States, no need to include that. Federal government resumes are also a different style as well. They may ask you for how many hours a week you have worked at previous positions. For now, you could include, if you're a first-year student, if this is your first semester, welcome, you can include your high school information, all right? Don't worry that if you're thinking you're a first-year student, that you cannot include high school. Yes, you can, okay? Yes, you can. Of course, after you progress into your second year, and then especially when you're a third-year student, right? You definitely want to keep college-level embry-riddle experiences. That's the hope that you do get involved and you join clubs and experiences that can benefit you during your time here in projects. They're gonna know if you exaggerate your accomplishments for sure. No need to use pronouns. So I did this, I did that, our team did this, we did that, we use Excel to design this. Just keep it to action verbs, right? So as Roshunda mentioned, created, designed, facilitated, use action verbs to start your bullet points. Listing references, that's actually going to be for a separate document. No need to include those on the resume. Your employer will ask you for references on a separate sheet, on a separate PDF or Word document. And yes, please have another set of eyes. We're here to assist in career services. Maybe you have trusted friends as well who can proofread and look over your resume. And then lastly, you do want to eventually customize and tailor your resume in terms of experiences for said position. Say if the position requires XYZ experience or this XYZ hard skill, and you have those hard skills, right? You have that CATIA, or you have the C# knowledge, or you have this Excel, a Microsoft Excel skill you have, right? Definitely include that on your resume. Okay, so now graphic warning. These are going to be some bad samples. They're going to be bad looking resumes that you may not, or you should not actually have on your resume. So let's proceed forward. Okay, so start off with, I'm just going to show the blank copy. We're not going to mark up anything just yet, but there's going to be about 7 different arrows on this. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So the first one is going to be no need to have your middle name. I know maybe, right, your middle name is precious to you, right? It's maybe you find it as important as your first and last name. Great, fantastic, but really no need to have that. Okay, so you could definitely take out your middle initial if you need to. Just your first and last name is fine. But if you do need to include your middle initial, right, no worries, it's okay, still have that. But really, you want to have your name being the biggest text, being the biggest content on your resume. So as you can see on this page, this name, William Z. Day, they included their middle initial. Fantastic, that's great. If that they want to, but definitely have the name being a regular, sorry, not a regular, I'm speaking too fast, a bigger size font. So it's 12-point font, I see that, but definitely make it 14-point font. Okay, so have your name being even bold. Okay, if you want to make it bold, fantastic, but at least make it bigger on the resume. So let's click through. Okay, so this one, you definitely want to spell out embry-riddle. The employer, they're not going to know what ERAU stands for immediately from the get-go. So just please spell out embry-riddle, Aeronautical University. Okay, next one. Okay, you want to spell out Bachelor of Science. I know you may want to just abbreviate with BS or B.S.S, right? Sure, that's okay, but you definitely ideally want to spell out Bachelor of Science. And then that 4th arrow on there is, you don't need to mention when you started at embry-riddle, more so when you graduate. Employers, they're going to ask you, so I know you started in fall 2021, right, or August 2021. Where are you going to graduate? They more so care about that. They're going to know from your graduation date, are you a third-year student? Are you a second-year student? Are you a senior going to graduate this semester or next semester? Yep, this one's pretty common as well. You definitely want to capitalize the L for Florida, so FL. Yep, you want to avoid using pronouns. So no need to say I was a server, right? Just say served up to 50 customers per day on beverages and food. Yeah, but definitely avoid using pronouns. Yep, there's a typo, right? I know it says from it or from, right? But it should be form relationships with customers. Yep, another typo, activities, but it should be activities. And this one should be the last one on this example, but yep, typo, misspelling on member. That's right now spelled never, not member. Okay, so we're gonna click on the first one for this one. Okay, yes, you may be guessing. Okay, what's not good about this? Yes, it's a very inappropriate email. Okay, you may be having a smirk right now, but yes, that's not an appropriate email address. Keep it to something professional. For this one, it could easily be Samantha Jones 123, or if that's taken, Samantha underscore Jones 123, but definitely something more professional. Okay, this one, you don't need to include your address. Just your phone and email could be sufficient. We talked about that before. If you want to include your address, make sure that the position you're applying to is in the New York or New Jersey or just tri-state area. But if you want to also include the address, no need to have your street address. New York, no zip code is sufficient as well. Yes, definitely hyphenate. Add the hyphen hammer riddle. There's a hyphen there. Yep. Once again, spell out Bachelor of Science. Yep. For this one, you want to be specific, right? There is actually, I know it's silly, but definitely there is a formal name to the library. It's Hunt Library. I know it's super small, but you could probably get away with that to be honest, but Hunt Library to be specific. For instead of now, I see students usually put current or present. No need for now. Yep. Avoid using pronouns. Okay, manage money is good, right? But we talked about quantifying. We talked about adding data, adding numbers to your bullet points. So manage money of up to $1,000 per day, but just quantify that experience. Yep. Avoid using pronouns. And typo. There was also a typo there too. Yes, there's not supposed to be 2 M's. There's 1 M for employees. All right. So final example. That one is also a typo. Activities again. You want to spell out this club name. I know it's definitely very popular on campus. Maybe one of the most popular for a certain college on campus. But you want to spell out Embry-Riddle Propulsion Lab for this experience. And then yep, typo. And no need to use pronouns. No need to use pronouns again. And references available. No need to even mention that, right? That's for another document. No need to even mention 2 words. References are available. Yeah. Okay, so we're not going to do this right now, but essentially you want to give your resume a test run, right? You want to make sure it's good quality, as top-notch as it can be. Ask someone who maybe you don't know well, or you don't know at all, or maybe on the flip side, you know well enough, and that they can give you honest feedback, honest critique and suggestions on your resume too. So show to them however long. I know this slide says 10 seconds, right? That's generally how long, anywhere from 6 seconds to 20 seconds, recruiters at companies can look at your resume for, but ask them, okay, what is the major on my resume? Do they see an email address? Do they see a former workplace or a job you've had listed, work experience? Do you have an award or honor listed, right? So they should be able to see that with ease and simplicity on your resume. If not, you may want to consider revising your resume in terms of formatting, in terms of making your section title stand out, in terms of making your content pop out more. So they should be able to do that quite easily with your section titles and looking for the actual content within those sections. And then this will be my last slide before I turn it over to Roshunda, but I want to talk about and preface career readiness skills. All right, this is so important, so critical, because we want to make sure that you're all career ready and that you're employable, that you're ready to be joining the workforce for after you graduate. I know some of you may be in your 4th week at Embry-Riddle. I know the pressure is on, the stakes are on, right? But no worries. I just want to make sure you're aware that we do have something called Eagle Elevate Career Readiness. It's a program on campus where you're able to develop these skills, these 8 soft skills, interpersonal skills, life skills under your belt. And not only do you have them for the rest of your time here at Embry-Riddle and for your future employment, right? But also for life too. Okay, so I'm gonna name all of them. They're all under the career, our national organization, National Association of Colleges and Employers. That's the umbrella organization we follow by. But career and self-development, teamwork, communication, critical thinking is actually #1 sought after skill by companies. Technology, what kind of hard skills do you know? Equity and inclusion, leadership, and professionalism. So as you can see from this graph, this poll was able to ask a bunch of employers as to what they hire for, what's more important to hire for, or is it more important to hire for soft skills or hard skills? Okay, 30% of the employers surveyed by this organization said that yes, they actually do hire for soft skills, these career competencies, more than hard skills. Okay, hard skills is what you can be taught. So that CATIA, your learning class, the inventor, the Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, right? How to be a team player, how to be a thoughtful person and consider others when it comes to projects and listening for feedback. Those are more soft skills, right? 62% that they're both equally as important, so they couldn't give it, one over the other edge, right? They're both 50-50, equally important to hire for. And then 8% only 8% said they prefer hard skills more than soft, all right? But still, 92% said that yes, they do prioritize soft skills as much or harder or much more than hard skills. And then I'm again bring it over to Roshunda.
Thank you, Tommey. All right, so we're going to just look at a little bit closer those career readiness skills that Tommey spoke about and look at how are they defined, because each of these, you can really speak to these if you were to get that interview, and also if some of these are listed on your resume. So career and self-development, really important because it's where you're proactively developing oneself and one's career through continual personal and professional learning awareness of one's strengths and weaknesses. So it's really important to identify what are your strengths, what are you good at, what areas could you work on? And I always tell students, make sure you're getting involved with different workshops that are going to help you grow individually and when it comes to professionally. All right, are you noticing those career opportunities that are available? Networking is really essential to self-development because by building those connections, you never know what opportunities are being created. So ensuring that you're building those relationships within and without one's organization. This is just giving you all an example. States provided resume assistance, advised on credit criteria, review credit requirements, and course assignments. So this is just an example. If it were coming from a student, some of those things that they did that helped them evolve and do better when it comes to career and self-development. Then we have teamwork. So it's really important. I know a lot of times, sometimes you may want to work alone, which is good to be able to still accomplish your goals and the different workload that you may have alone, but can you also work as a team? So this is where you build and maintain collaborative relationships to work effectively toward common goals while appreciating diverse viewpoints and shared responsibilities. So I know with you all being students, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you all to work in teams and still be on the same page with trying to accomplish one goal. So an example that you can include here, collaborated with 3 partner instructors to create interactive lesson plans to students and boost academic growth. So you do want to ensure that you are able to work on a team collaboratively. This one is really important, communication. All right, so can you communicate effectively both written and orally? So clearly and effectively exchanging information, ideas, facts, and perspective with persons inside and outside of an organization. So this means it could be someone in your class. All right, maybe you're communicating with someone that's a part of a team or a part of an organization. Are you able to do that in that professional manner? So by oral, some examples might be presentation, all right, even listening, so critical listening. Your body language also says a lot. Nonverbal, thinking about your own personal presentation, your body language. So if I'm in an interview, am I sitting up? Am I making eye contact? All right, am I engaging by nodding? All of those little things are part of communication. And then you're written. So if you have to do a presentation for class and you have to present some important data, are you able to communicate that effectively? Academic writing, what does your writing look like? You guys will have to write that thesis. All of those things are going to be comprised when it comes to career readiness. Critical thinking, there's that number one skill that Tommey was telling us about. Are you able to problem solve? Can you think on your feet? All right, can you come up with different solutions to different problems? This is where you are able to identify and respond to needs based upon an understanding of situational context and logical analysis of relevant information. So really making sure that you guys are thinking outside of the box and thinking critically and problem solving. This is a major, I would say, quality that a lot of employers are looking for. And then technology. As we know in today's society, technology is evolving on a daily basis. So making sure that you guys are keeping up to date with different technologies, getting those certifications that are needed. This is where you understand and leverage technologies ethically to enhance efficiencies, complete tasks, and accomplish goals. So this is really important to have as well, especially on your resume. Are you able to use different technologies and to what capacity? Equity and inclusion. So this is really important when it comes to diversity and having that empathy towards others and really trying to be understanding. So demonstrating the awareness, attitude, knowledge, and skills required to equitable engage and include people from different local and global cultures. So you guys know on campus, there's going to be a lot of different people coming from different diverse backgrounds. Are you able to engage with them? All right, and here it just gives you an example stating that Dennison listens to Samantha discuss experiencing colorism growing up. Dennison listens, acknowledges, and empathizes. So it's really good to be understanding of people that come from various backgrounds, because once you get into the workforce, you're going to be working with all different types of people, and it's important to be able to do so. And our last couple, I believe, leadership. So leadership is really important. And again, when you are able to pick up any leadership opportunities, even if you don't feel confident enough, that is a great way to become more confident in an active role. All right. It's recognizing and capitalizing on personal and team strengths to achieve organizational goals. And being in a leadership position doesn't mean that you have to do everything on your own, but you're really helping with giving that vision. And it's going to be a great opportunity for you to delegate. All right, how well do you delegate and listen to others? So leadership comes with a whole lot, but it really is a great speaking point when it speaks for yourself on your resume, cover letter, interviews as well. All right, professionalism. So what is your work ethic like? And that can comprise of a whole lot of different elements. So are you timely? All right, do you get to work on time? Do you have time management? How well are you getting through your different tasks for the day? So this is knowing work environments differ greatly, understand and demonstrate effective work habits, and act in the interest of the larger community and workplace. So just being able to multitask, all right, and have that strong work ethic, this is a really important career readiness quality that you really want to focus in on. And I'm going to turn it back over to Tommey to go over the competencies.
So once again, thank you so much, Roshunda. This is a slide that can really summarize all these 8 competencies that we really focused on and talked about the past 3, 4, 5 slides, right? So how can you really participate in developing and gaining strengths in these competencies, right? So as you can see on the right-hand side of this slide is really getting involved, right? Getting involved, whether it be joining a student organization or doing an on-campus job, or being an RA, or studying abroad, or research. You could do a combination of these two, but of course, balancing out with your academics and your schedule and your personal life as well. We definitely don't want you to get to the point where you do too much and you stretch yourself too thin and then you just burn out, right? No, definitely not. But get to the point where you're able to balance by joining a club and do research or doing study abroad as well and service projects as well, but to the point where you're comfortable by doing all of that and strengthening yourself, as well as still managing your classes and doing well in them and your own personal life too. We don't want to get to the point where you do too much at one time, is really the main point. And of course, you can always contact our wonderful colleague, Erin Minta. Her email is listed down there and down below to really get to know more about all these aids and how you can start to get acquainted and exposed to all these. So that way you can put more of these bullet points on your resume, as well as when talking to recruiters and any future professionals you want to talk to. And then if you ever do need to get your resume critiqued, we do have a career peers who are available from 8 to 2. That is the QR code to scan. There is, I know it says on 8 to 5 on this slide, but no worries. The time is actually from 8 to 2, not necessarily from 8 to 5, but it's every weekday. That is the Zoom link to join. You can also visit us in person too. Don't worry about that. You can visit us in person if you want to see a career peer or if you want to see us, your program manager, in person to have your resume reviewed. We also do offer virtual options on Zoom as well. But just know that there are so many different ways to have your resume be reviewed, be critiqued, because we want to make sure that not only are you ready for the Career Expo, but also for applications elsewhere too. Now, when it comes to our events, we're just winding down. We're just going to plug our events for the rest of this week. But we have a couple of ones for tomorrow and, of course, for on Thursday, including interview preparation. It's essentially assisting you with how to interview for different types of interviews, anywhere from situation-based to panel-based interviews to behavior-based questions, how to use the STAR method, situation, task, action, result to tackle interview questions too. So that's happening throughout this week in Career Preparation Week. We also have elevator speech presentation as well, where you're able to really learn how to transform and articulate your skill sets into a short 30 to 45 second spiel about yourself to maybe the CEO of your dream company, or it could be just an employee of your dream company, and really market yourself to that person as to why you deserve to be called in for an interview. And not just happening this semester, but really for any type of fall or spring semester, we always have these events that can really help prepare you for the internship search, to help you get ready for to have a stellar rock star resume, to help you with interviewing for full-time job search assistants. But these are some of the events we have going on for this semester, and we hope you can take advantage of almost all of them if possible, and hope you have been able to join some of them. And I do want to plug in our career fairs and graduate school fair we have this semester. Our virtual expo is happening on Wednesday, October 6th from 12 to 6. Registration has already begun, so thank you for those who have already done so. Please also spread the word to your fellow friends and peers too that registration has begun, and we look forward to seeing you in virtual format too on Handshake, as well as there being in-person face-to-face Industry Career Expo on Tuesday, October 12th too, from 9 to 3 p.m. ICI Center. Please, of course, dress professionally for both of these events. Virtual, of course, I know is virtual format, at least dress halfway up, right? The bottom half, as long as you're not getting up, that's okay. But please do dress professionally all the way through for in-person one, because that's definitely in person, it's not virtual. And lastly, we have our virtual graduate school fair on that Tuesday of October 26th for 3 hours, 4 to 7. It's on Handshake. And the registration begins on October 13th. I know some of you all may be not thinking about graduate school, or maybe you are in graduate school. Fantastic. We definitely want to provide that as well.
And Tommey, I think we had one question. Oh, there it is. All right.
Yeah, so I do want to dedicate some time for question and answer portion. So for those who have You already posted in the chat. Thank you. If not, please go ahead and comment into the chat with your questions, any doubts you may have, just anything at all. Roshunda and I, we're here to help field those questions.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so just a quick question. I won't take so much of your time. So I am a graduate from Embry-Riddle Worldwide. I got my undergraduate degree, and I am attending the Prescott Career Expo as an alumni. So I just wanted to know, do we need to add like a relevant coursework from the degree?
So when it comes to, and Roshunda, feel free to chime in as well. When it comes to the relevant coursework section on your resume, if you do want to include that, right, you definitely want to include the ones from your, your final year or even your final 2 years of when you attained your degree from Worldwide. Okay, so not more so the beginning courses such as the general education courses, the gen ed courses, right? No need to include, for example, physics 1, 2, 3, calc 1, 2, 3, but the ones that are really focused on your major, usually the last 2 years of your major, of your coursework, you want to add on your resume if you want to do that. And then on the flip side, the relevant coursework section isn't as necessary to add as compared to other sections on your resume. So for example, projects, if you've had student involvement, you review or part of student clubs on campus through Worldwide or not, if you had maybe honors and awards, if you had volunteer experience, those kinds of sections actually take priority over relevant coursework. But if you do want to add in relevant coursework, I recommend the major related courses. Anything to add, Roshunda?
I think you hit every point, Tommey. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for that question. Is there anything else? I'm also going to check the chat. Very good. We'll give it maybe 15 more seconds. Okay, we do have more questions. Fantastic. Okay, so we have one student asked, should I mention that I am living outside of the US and may require working authorization as worldwide student? So when it comes to having that on your resume, you actually don't need to include that, but I think including your location. For example, maybe you're in Jamaica, okay? You're in Jamaica and you want to, and you're an international student, right? And you need some kind of work authorization, just include the country, right? And if not, the city and country as well. So it could be Kingston, Jamaica, but you don't need to mention how you're international student or international alum on your resume. You don't need to include your F1 visa or J1 visa. You don't need to include those visas, but include your location as well. Let's see. When it comes to, yep, awesome, my pleasure. Yeah.
I just have one more question. Because I am seeing different employers next Thursday, excuse me. Should I fix all of my resume introductions to that specific job title and company, or could I just give them just a generic resume? Because that's what I have done while I was a student, but now since I am an alumni, I want to make sure I do things a little bit differently.
Sure. Do you want to talk with that, Roshunda?
Sure. Yes, I would definitely make it more general. And if you do have that objective or summary, you can focus more so on that field that you're necessarily wanting to go into. Now, if you know that an employer is going to be there that you definitely want a job opportunity with, or to directly have that further communication, you can create one and have a separate one specifically for that employer, but I would definitely say generalize it and make sure you specify with either that summary or objective and even your skills to really state what you would desire in that specific field. And I don't know if you want to add on to that, Tommey.
I really couldn't have said anything better. I think, yes, still keep it general, but also mention, if you want to mention the company name in that summary, in the objective, right? if you want to mention the position title, and if you apply to already a requisition on their website already, that wouldn't help, that wouldn't hurt as well. So adding those 3 components to each of those, it's small items, but they do make a difference as well. But otherwise, the other parts of it can be generalized.
Okay, fantastic. So like as of right now, I have like a specific objective for like the first sentence on my resume, which is a honors graduate seeking a full-time position in job title with company name, and I put down willing to relocate. So I know that the first sentence of that objective is kind of weak for me, so I do want to straighten that a little bit. Do you know who I can just talk to just send my resume and just get some feedback on?
So because you are a worldwide student, right? So there's actually, we do have worldwide career services available to you all. They could be found on our website, which is actually located on this slide, as well as all the other slides as well. If you go on careerservices.erau.edu, there should be a tab on the top. I believe it's top left or top right, but it should say contact. And you would click on worldwide career services, and there's going to be at least 4 different staff members from them. I will not necessarily name them, but they are available for you to field that question to as well. Awesome, fantastic. So I believe we do have one more slide, and then we're going to close it off. Awesome. So yes, please definitely connect with us on any of these platforms. We're on pretty much almost most social media, I'll say. We do have a website. We're of course on Handshake. We do have featured articles. Sometimes we may be reaching out to you all, whether it be current students or alumni, for opinions, insights on your internship or on your position that you may get in the future as well. We do have a Twitter handle as well. We do post different positions of the day for internships, jobs of the day on Twitter. Instagram is pretty much our most popular following. We have about 3,600 followers on there. We post almost daily in terms of content, in terms of stories, and our YouTube channel as well. This presentation will be recorded, or it is being recorded, sorry. It will be saved and uploaded to YouTube within a matter of 3 to 4 business days. And this presentation, as far as the content, the PPT goes, please, yes, definitely email us. But we will definitely upload this presentation to YouTube. But we're going to type our emails into the chat, so that way you all attendees can email us for a copy of this presentation. And that ends this recording. Thank you for all attending.